Welcome back to these videos in this series. We are looking at the victim and the warrior relationship. So in this video, we're going to have some bitter truths. Yay! I'm sure we're all realizing that when we want to grow and transform, we have to look at the bitter medicine of things. So the victim archetype comes in two very obvious phases and energies. One of them we don't mind looking at, and one of them a lot of people hate looking at. So the first one, the easy one, is where have we been victimized by others? So I never met a person on this planet who hasn't been the victim of somebody else or an organization or society. I mean, even in today's society, the rise of cancel culture is huge, and you can get cancelled just for becoming too successful, and you're literally you're becoming a victim to society's cancel culture. So the victim can be really felt intimately with being physically abused, mentally abused, emotionally abused. It can be bullied. It can be all the different aspects. Whenever you feel powerless and that people are doing stuff towards you in a malicious, hurtful way, that is when you have been the victim. The not so fun aspect, and this is the one that takes a lot more emotional maturity and deep shadow diving into your psyche and into your heart and soul, is where have you victimized yourself? So I will put myself up as the guinea pig yet again and talk about my times, as I martyred and shapeshifted. I had a really toxic inner critic, and I was giving my power away left, right, and center to other people. But I felt good about doing it because I had this weird thing like, I'm such a good person. People are going to see I'm such a good person. And I got my value, my sense of value in this fake perception. And I victimized myself so badly. Now, I'm going to be even more vulnerable and share yet another hidden, lovely aspect of my personality. And I'm going to talk about the energy vampire. So this is an archetype that has really risen in popularity in modern times. I really don't feel like the energy vampire had as much of an archetypal influence 100 years ago or 200 years ago. It's really on the predominant rise. So the energy vampire is when you suck the energy out of people by repetitively talking about something, whether it's something you're not wanting to do change, and then you never actually do it. So there was a time where for a solid decade, I was obsessed with becoming a fiction writer. I went and studied 3 years at university for a fiction writer. And I knew in my secret little soul, in my depths of the darkest of nights, when I wasn't, willing to bring this to light to talk to people, I knew in my bones that I lacked the discipline to follow this life and actually sit down and write thousands of words a day in order to make it into a career and a thriving, where I wanted to go. And it was a soul craving. I really wanted it. I would write about entire worlds that I have in my head and all these other different stuff. But I never sat down and actually put fingers to keys and typed it out and stuck to it. I've got countless books scribbled with unfinished ideas and plots. Now, here's where I was an energy vampire. I would tell everybody about my angst and my woes. I would tell everybody how I was really wanting to write and I was really doing this and I was really doing that. And I don't know why I'm blocked and I don't know why I can't do this. I really want this. And everyone was so encouraging. You could do this. And they would give me a pep talk. All the while, I never did anything with it. I got pep talk after pep talk after pep talk after pep talk, and then another pep talk. And I never did anything with it. It required too much discipline, and I didn't have that at that stage, and it wasn't really for me. I don't know if I'm ever going to do it. I don't see myself ever having the discipline to do it. I had to let that go and I had to stop vamping people and sucking their energy out when I had no intentions of actually sitting down and doing it. So I was victimizing myself and then putting my victim out there in order to garner attention and empathy and help, make me feel better about myself. Nobody likes to think of the times that we've done this. This is really bitter medicine. Some people are going to be outraged by this, but it's also honest. A lot of people who are in abusive relationships will actually have a solid, strong energy vampire, and there's no judgment in that. But it is something that we have to look at if this resonates with you to heal. And I've had this conversation with people who have actually done so and they acknowledge it and understand it. And what happens is their partner who's abusive sucks all of the self-esteem out of them and their energy. Quite often you do everything for them as well, so physically drained. So what they will do is they will go to friends and they will tell them about how horrifying their relationship is and they're ready to leave their partner or they're ready to do this. And you listen very carefully to them and you give all this great advice and they're like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to do that. And then they never do. And then they stay stuck. So what they're doing is they are feeding from other people in order to stay in their relationships longer, because the moment they get home, their abusive partner will just drain whatever energy they've just siphoned off somebody else. And then they feel like no one's going to believe them. They're not strong enough to do it. They can't do all the different things. The key out of all of this is the warrior. Now, I have a theory, and it's just my theory, and I think I could be very, very correct about this. But I believe that the people who have been through narcissistic abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, molestations, like I've helped clients who have the most horrifying stories of their journey. And through their healing, they then become the most incredible healers and seers and psychic readers and amazing people that I've ever met on the planet. And they have the strongest of all warriors. Because when they finally leave that situation, they actually know so intrinsically deep within themselves that they can survive anything. They can get out of anything. And they go on this healing journey, and it can take, such a long time to get over abuse. But at the core of them, you're not going back and that you are so fucking strong. And they can tap into that warrior archetype to transform their life faster than most other people that don't have those traumas. It's because their warrior is so strong. Now, there is 3 aspects. I call it the 3 C's of the warrior. The warrior needs courage, commitment, and conviction. And conviction, number 3, is the one that most people get stuck with. And it's because of exactly what I was saying with discipline. You lack that conviction to go forth and make the changes, because you know that when you're wanting to change something, it's not going to happen the first time. If you've got a lot of trauma, or if you're pushing your boundaries, you're uncomfortable about something, and you're like, yep, I'm going to do this, it's going to happen the first time. Maybe if it's a miracle, or if it's something easy and small, but if you're going to something big, you're not going to obtain it the next day. And you have to have conviction in order to power through. You have to have conviction to look at your shadow aspects and stop victimizing yourself. If you're getting, let's go over here to the child. If you're getting offended by people, but you're not telling them how you're offended and having a sovereign conversation about it, and instead you just get all offended and you attack them and you're the victim, you are absolutely 50% or more responsible, because you're not communicating to the other person. You're expecting them to be telepathic, and that is cruel and unusual. If you lack boundaries, you haven't stood up for yourself. You have to take accountability of where you've victimized yourself. Where have you given away your power? Where have you not faced your bullies? Every time someone's had to face a bully, they've had to activate that warrior to the nth degree. So if there is an area in your life where you feel like someone or something is doing something to you, you have the responsibility of activating your warrior to get out of it, because nobody is going to come and save you. This is a lesson for your soul, spirit, God, goddess, the universe, however you want to word it, is literally giving you a lesson here so that you activate your warrior and get the hell out of the situation. No one's going to save you. Leave that job that's morally corrupting you. Get smart about it. Apply for other jobs. The moment you get another job, leave that one and say, bye, Felicia. Don't stay stuck in it being the victim. Relationships, friendships, family. You can distance yourself. You do not have to martyr yourself on a cross, your family, because blood is supposedly thicker than water. But what is the cost? Are you constantly at the victim of your family? These questions are not easy, little, small ones. These are primordial or like archetypal forces. If you truly want to be empowered, you must go through this system. Let's go. The Saboteur and the Alchemist next.